But 3 months later, I found Damo Suzuki in Munich on the street. He was praying to the sun with wild gestures. I was in a cafe with Jackie and said to him, see that guy there? He will become our next singer.
Only bad things can happen if that's how you
pick up homeless people to become your new singer. Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined as always by my plaid-clad co-host Alexander Volts. I said your name Votes so many times right there. Say hello.
Hello. You know, it's not easy, and you've never messed it up until today. So
it is an easy name when you know how it's pronounced.
That's true.
And I've also said it hundreds of times.
On camera, yes.
On camera. This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's usually a new discography per episode, except for bigger discographies like this one, where we have to split them up into multiple parted episodes. And we'll be discussing, what's today? What's today?
Fans will be real excited. We're talking about Can today.
Can, hell yes. Part one. This is from 1968 to 1973, also known as the Damo Suzuki years for the most part. We were going to do the entire discography in one episode, and then at the last minute we added two albums to the list because we felt they were necessary to cover, and that bumped it to 13 albums. And I thought it would be a 4-hour episode.
Yes,
and we don't need to do that again.
No, we don't. It would not do a service to this band, and I'm sure Tom has lovely notes.
Yes. So we have plenty of notes here from our boy Tom Osman, our history guy who does all the stuff for us. So check him out in all the places. You should see it on the screen right now. This is also the winner of our, not our most recent poll, but one of our polls on Patreon. Check that out. This one beat, I forgot who it beat, but I was worried it wouldn't win. I was like afraid to put Can on the list out of fear that it won decisively.
In a landslide.
Oh, yeah. So I guess the people who like us also know what we like and like the same things that we like.
It's been a while since we've rocked onto Krautrock Avenue.
Yeah. We did Noi forever ago, a long time ago. I guess early Kraftwerk counts.
Yes.
Did that. And that's it.
That's it.
That's all we've done.
But yeah, this is one I've been itching to do for a while. And then maybe one day, I don't know how many albums Faust has.
Oh, I don't know either. I don't remember.
But if that's manageable, I feel like that's like the big four.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even put Kraftwerk in there because they veered so quickly to electronic. But then you get Almond Duel 2 or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They're like another big one. But Can is one of those bands where I always feel like no one has ever heard of them and no one would even bother like giving them a chance. And then I find out that everybody loves them like afterward. I keep finding random people who already like them when it doesn't seem like they would have ever even heard of them.
It's a crazy band because I remember hearing them for the first time and I couldn't believe they weren't held in the same regard as like a Pink Floyd. But obviously they have like a cult, more like cult following.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just so crazy the things these guys are doing. And I once there was a venue in LA. I hesitate to call it a venue, but I guess it's a venue. I don't know if you ever went there, called Safari Sam's.
Oh, Jesus. I don't think I've ever been there, but I passed by a number of times and it was always a shithole.
It's not bad, but it's also more like a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing Damo Suzuki was going to play there one evening.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over there thinking it's going to be packed.
Yeah.
It was like me and 5 other people.
Are you serious? That makes me sad.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Holy shit.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, it's cool for me, but this must like.
That's like the big exact polar opposite of what I've like experienced with Can, where like I think no one's heard of them, but everyone's heard of them, and you're going to the thing with their most known and popular vocalist.
Yeah.
In LA, where and no one shows up. It's what the fuck.
I don't know what the fuck was going on there. Why it was such a low attendance. And if I was him, I would never ever play LA again after that.
Or keep doing it and just keep doing it
until more people show up.
Yeah, I would imagine he'd be the type to just fucking keep running at the wall, and I would agree with that. But I don't know, how did I fucking my brother Robert for sure turned me on to them, but it was more recent, and recent is not a early 20s.
Yeah,
so a long time ago now, but yeah, maybe late teens. I was like going to like just starting college, and then I don't even. Yeah, it was one album, and then from there, I guess I got a hard drive of his or something and had a bunch of stuff on it, and a few of their other albums were on there. I was like, oh, hello, and never ventured past what we're covering today.
Yes.
So like I basically heard everything here. Well, not everything here, but almost everything here. On our part 2 episode, I will have heard nothing. So it's very different experience, I guess. But I absolutely love this band. Insanely underrated, even though they've been sampled to death. I mean, notably by Kanye, he sampled the shit out of them. And then even like, who's someone else that really stinks that sampled them? It sampled Vitamin C.
I'm not sure. I know
like Willow Smith or something, or Jaden Smith or something. Someone whom I don't really respect musically. I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
You know, I'm gonna say I don't like the music Willow and Jaden are putting out. Arguably, not for me, but I feel like they're doing their best.
I don't think they're doing the best. I actually have no idea. Sure they are. I have no idea. I'm just talking shit.
Les Claypool gave it up for Willow. So
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably getting paid some weird sex cult thing behind the scenes, I bet.
He's Les Claypool, like hanging out with the Smiths. Oh man. What a wacky scene that would be.
Oh, 100%. It was Jaden Smith,
Okay.
Rory and Jaden Smith. So yeah, the clearly sampled a lot, especially stuff from one particular album sampled a lot. And I guess that's cool. I don't really like that so much because I mean, I'm not of the grandpa camp of anti-sampling, but when it's like when the song is revolving around a thing that is very much unchanged from the original thing, that was taken from somewhere else.
Yeah.
I have a huge bias against that. Like it's the whole Ice Ice Baby thing. It's like, oh, you just stole the whole bass line, and then you wrote a whole song based on the foundation of someone. Like sampling can be fucking incredible. Like I don't need to give examples because there's a trillion, but like in the earlier days, like Public Enemy, where you don't really recognize it from this thing that they took it from. It's like a collage of a bunch of things, and it creates something new from it. So when I hear how Jaden Smith sampled Can, I get very fucking angry.
Haven't even heard it. I'm just not going to spend the time. So
I heard it by accident. It was yeah. That's
so we'll be covering Daft Punk next week.
Oh. Overrated city, dude. So Can German, obviously, because krautrock.
Also, quick note. First time I heard of them, on top of being into metal as a young man, I really bought into like the garage rock thing.
How do you mean?
Like, White Stripes,
okay,
the Hives, things like that. There's a band called the Mooney Suzuki.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And they don't play krautrock, but they named themselves after the Toucan Singers.
Yeah. The first Toucan Singers.
Yeah, that was my first. I don't know when I'd talk about the Mooney Suzuki again.
Probably not for a while, but this is as relevant as ever.
Yes. I like their first 2 albums.
All right, fair enough. So Can, made up of there's a revolving door lineup, but the main 3, I guess, are hold on. I learned how to pronounce a lot of these names.
Oh shit!
But I may have forgotten. So like the top 2 dudes are Ermin Schmidt on keyboards and keys and some vocals, and Holger Shukai.
Shukai sounds right.
I think it's Shukai on bass and vocals. Well, bass and
various other things,
bunch of other shit, background vocals, whatever. And then Jockey shit, that's the one I can't pronounce. Liebeziet. I have no idea.
Close enough.
It's a bunch of I's and E's and Z's.
Yes.
But anyway, Jockey is like one of my favorite drummers of all time.
Oh shit.
Like, it's not like, I mean, he's an incredible drummer. He's very fucking good. He's like a jazz background, but he has a style, and that style is just, it's addictive. There's something, it's just the hookiest drum lines and drum beats, and it's extremely groovy. It's really tom heavy. And I've never heard anybody play it like him or play that kind of thing like him. You always know it's either a canned song or him on drum is just based on this type of beat that he does.
There are songs where he does a lot of the heavy lifting for sure.
There are songs where the only thing distinguishable as a song is the drums. Everything else is just kind of wandering around, floating, and maybe hitting one or two notes. There's no riff. The singer's fucking mumbling nonsense, and then the drums are really repetitive, really it just sticks in your head. It's like I think he had a nickname that he was like a machine or something like that. I forgot what the actual nickname was, but yeah, it's like a machine. He was very rhythmic, very on point, very repetitive, but it was not polyrhythmic, but it was like just busy, like a really busy robotic it's fucking wild, and it's very cool. When you hear it, you know it, and it's hard to mistake it for anything else. And then Michael Caroli, I'm sure it's not pronounced Caroli because that sounds more Italian the way I'm saying it.
Michael
Caroli on guitars and some violin and stuff. And then we have like various vocals. The vocals from this period, this era, or Malcolm Mooney, who was on the first two records, or the first two records, and then one record that wasn't released, but it was eventually released that we're going to be talking about, and then Damo Suzuki on the other four or whatever the fuck.
It's crazy how short Suzuki's lifespan is in the band, but like what a huge impact he left.
Wild. Literally 3 years, or maybe 4. I think it was 70 to 73.
Yeah.
So brief. And when you think of Ken, you only think of the stuff that he's on.
Yeah. Yeah. And to a lesser extent, Mooney.
Yeah. There's some songs where he's like really, that are kind of popular, prevalent, that have Mooney on it. But there was not like a whole lot of huge backstory of these guys like this. There's no like there's some here, but there's not like a really wild story. What I found to be wild were the backstories of the members, most notably Jockey and Holger. Mostly Jockey. War-torn World War II fucking chaos.
If you're band from Germany, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about that with Kraftwerk, how the need they had to create their own musical identity because what they had was it's Nazi shit.
Yeah. There was no culture. There was just, we have long roads and vehicles and a bunch of Nazi shit we can't talk about anymore. So Jockey, he was born in 38, which is right in the fucking heat of it. And his dad was a music teacher. He played accordion and violin and taught both of them to Jockey, which is amazing that he ended up being this incredible drummer. It just shows that he was, made for music. But his dad was forced to stop teaching during the Nazi period, and according to Wiki, died in mysterious circumstances in 1943. I don't think it's that mysterious.
No.
Yeah. So that happens early on, and then growing up, he had no running water. He had to survive on vegetables grown at home. He had to walk several kilometers to school, and I think it says here when the Russians began to occupy East Germany, he became a refugee when his mother took him to West Hannover-Schmunden to live with her mother and brother just before the border closed in 1945. So he just made it out. Fuck, dude. I mean, like, these are different people. These are much harder people than like this.
Absolutely. I think to live through that and decide to play this like weird, funky music also speaks a lot about his desire and he probably could just be a negative dude. No one would blame him.
And it's a funny thing about Jockey is he was. We're not going to see it too much in this era, but I think he was more of the perfectionist, mean, like get it fucking right. You guys keep fucking up, get it right kind of guy.
Yeah,
which is interesting because, I mean, it also just showed, I guess, the band was very, I guess, democratic.
Yeah,
in terms of who wrote what and everything. Just kind of most of it sounds like they just jammed, and then that's how the songs came about. A lot of the songs are just jamming, so it makes sense that everybody kind of play their own part. And then Holger was born. Today it's Gdansk, Poland, but it was originally the Free City of Danzig. Yeah. Check out all their Danzig episodes, and he not quite as what's the word?
Didn't grow up as hard.
Not quite as running from death as Jockey, but close to it. You know, just all the things that come with being born at that particular moment in time in that particular part of the world, and it doesn't. It didn't work out for a lot of people, but they made it out and they started a fucking krautrock band
and contributed to history in more positive ways.
Significantly more positive, but it's also like they have to. I don't know a lot because I don't do a lot of asking of questions or looking up how popular things are these days, but it seems like they really, really got more popular recently.
I was probably in my early 20s when I'm going to say yes, because I feel like these days, like there's no way that could happen now, or at least I like to think so. But
also because there's a whole bunch of shit how they recorded their first handful of albums that was so budget and so not even just budget, but it was like using a 2-track tape recorder. And that's how they recorded their albums on. Yeah. And they actually don't sound that bad. So I don't even know how it even worked out. But in terms of how they all got started, Holger, we have an interview with Holger from, I think it's 1997, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, with Perfect Sound Forever. And he gives a lot of insight. And his English is a little broken, but you can figure out what he's saying. There's also one moment that Tom notes where he didn't want to fix the grammar because Tom actually is an English teacher in Germany. He's like, this is how a German learning English formulates sentences a lot. And like, it's just how it's not as broken as it may seem. Yeah. But Holger, he's talking about his early influences. He says, I was first thinking of becoming a composer when I was a child. Then I went to a music school and they said, you must be a wonder child and you must be finished by 15. I was a year too late. I don't know what the fuck any of that means. You have to be like a prodigy. You're not allowed to become a composer.
Jeez, fucking Jedi Temple over here won't take you after a certain age.
Dude, what the fuck? It's a comedian I like named Matt McCusker, and he was talking about, because he likes singing, I guess, like a hobby. And I think when he was like a young man, he went to a vocal teacher, just like, fuck it, I'll take vocal lessons. And it was this opera singer guy. And this fucking blowhard said to him, oh, you got a deviated septum? You'll never be great. It's like, damn, really? And I started like looking it up, like, because I have a deviated septum. I was like, I'm not that bad of a singer. Jesus Christ. It's mostly a myth that I think the old heads hold on to. Sure. There's all kinds of those old wives' tale, like, because you don't take in enough air and you can't control your breath. Like, it's just to fucking go fuck yourself. It's a myth. I'm not saying it defensively, I swear to God. Holger goes on to say, so I thought, okay, you can become a jazz musician now. I played guitar in a band in 1958 and went to a jazz music festival. We had to play in front of a jury and an audience. One of the judges said to us, it's impossible for us to classify what you played, but never mind. I'll take you on a radio show as something that can't be classified. I was very proud of this fact because I didn't pass my A-level degree at school. In music, I got the worst grade. But the next day I had my first performance on a radio show.
Lovely story. Like, hell yeah. The opposite what you usually hear. Usually you're not commercial enough.
Yep.
You don't fit into this box.
Don't know where I'm going to put you. Sorry.
But this guy got excited about the unknown.
As you should. That's also funny that this actually struck me because I don't remember. I keep forgetting who says everything because I suck. Have you seen the movie Whiplash?
Yes.
Is it or is it not amazing?
Amazing. So good.
It's amazing.
Was only downhill for that director after that movie.
Wait, which one? What else did he direct?
Did La La Land and Babylon. I didn't mind First Man, but I'm just like, stop making movies about Hollywood, please. I'm fucking... Especially Whiplash is like, who makes a movie about a drummer? That was a cool hook.
Especially a jazz drummer. Yeah. Which is not exactly rock star, not in that fucking vibe.
Not my fucking tempo.
Yes. So reason I brought that up is someone said, I heard it from someone who heard it from someone. Of course, it doesn't fucking matter. But they said they couldn't, the movie took them out of it immediately because there are no jazz competitions, making the whole movie kind of pointless.
Oh.
And here, there was a jury. And so it's like, well, there is something similar to it, at least in Germany.
Also, it's a fucking movie. It's a fucking movie. Loosen up.
Yeah, I guess. It's also, that movie also helps because the acting and the pantomiming was really convincing.
Yes, it was.
Which helps a whole lot. Sometimes it's not so convincing. And that fucking ruins it.
It's, Good work, Miles Teller, who's been playing a young up-and-comer for the past 15 years.
That's the luck of having a baby face. So Holger goes on to say, he says, then I thought, I'm not a born jazz musician. It wasn't my world. So who remained? It was only Stockhausen. He invited all these other composers like John Cage to come to Berlin to perform in winter of 62. John Cage was incredible. I didn't even think about that. Like that John Cage was associated with these guys.
No one hate me. I don't.
Oh, you don't like John Cage?
I don't know who the fuck.
You know John Cage?
No.
Well, you see in Mortal Kombat, he's the guy with the... I'm kidding. Yeah. No, he's a composer, is a avant-garde composer. He's very beloved. The only reason I know him is for the reason I don't enjoy his stuff is it's not 316 because that's Steve Austin. It's like 314, 3 something. It's the name of the piece is a length of time. And the piece is complete silence. That's the composition. What you hear when it's completely silent, like the coughing or the ambience in the room, that's the piece. And I say, go fuck yourself to that kind of thing. I'm sure his other pieces are great. I've heard some of his other stuff and it is cool, but that's the kind of, he's very outwardly thinking, creative, even if I don't like silence.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Holger says, I moved to Berlin because I wanted to study classical music, and the fact that Stockhausen took me on after high school was a miracle. The Iron Wall was just established, and I was looking for a flat. The cheapest flat was on an island that belonged to West Berlin, but was in East Germany. You go to a corridor with petrol from the East Germans, and you had to have a special visa. Inside on this island, I was guarded by 3 GIs. Outside, I was protected by the East Germans. I was just living with this barbed wire fence 5 meters away. It was great. It was fantastic.
Oh, man.
Holy shit. What a scary place. Oh, fuck, we're so soft.
I guess you adapt.
100%. So this is a weird one. I was trying to find more information on this because it's fucking bananas. So Stockhausen apparently told Holger that he recently married a rich woman. And Holger took that as like, I guess I got to find me a rich woman. So
if you're a struggling artist and you look good, there are worse plans.
It's so shitty.
It's really cliche.
Yeah. Then he says, I really went out to look for a rich woman. So where do you find that? In Switzerland. Duh.
Yeah. That makes sense.
There were these private schools for daughters of rich families, and I tried to become a teacher around in Lake Geneva. It happened that they took me on. I found a very rich girl there, and I was paid so high that I forgot about the rest.
Yeah, I was trying to be a freeloader, but I just got this job and it worked out good.
With this money, I saved a little bit, and that was the beginning of Cannes. I wanted to make for 1 year holidays. That's the sentence that Tom noted. I wanted to make for 1 year holidays. I guess he means he wanted to make enough for 1 year's worth of
holidays and petrol. We don't say that over here.
Yeah, I was like, petrol? You mean gas?
Which, to be fair, it does make sense to call it petrol because you also have like the gas used for your oven.
Yeah, gas is typically a gas.
Yes.
Isn't gas a gas and not a fucking liquid? It's stupid. We're idiots. Why do we call it gas?
The one syllable to say gasoline was this.
Yeah. Yeah, so he says that's how Can was established. With this money, I bought a tape recorder, and with this tape recorder, we made our first album. Now that's interesting because we're going to be talking about that first album, even though it was unreleased for a long time. The quality of that album doesn't sound that different from the album that came out 4 years later.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, and it's
so low budget.
So low budget.
Yeah,
it's just so confusing. So on putting the band together, so he met Michael on guitar. He said that he was a pupil of his.
Mm-hmm.
Ermin was a fellow student with him in Stockhausen, and the rest. Oh, yeah, and then Ermin new jockey. They got Malcolm Mooney on vocals, who I believe is American, and they said they got him from he came from an exhibition in Paris. Says he just came by just on holidays and didn't think of singing at all. He participated in the whole thing, and Can was there. So yeah, he'd be there for a few years.
Enough years to get a garage band named after him.
Yeah, enough. So the making of the first would eventually be the first album, but it was unreleased for many years. That one's wild because so they get the guys together and Holger says it happened that there was an exhibition in a little castle in Cologne. All the gallery people made a big party there, and there was a Picasso exhibition. And apparently the guy who ran out the castle sponsored the band and gave them a room there, and they made a studio in the room, and that's where they recorded their earliest records, in a fucking castle.
I was gonna say what a cool place to live, but their upbringings don't make recording a castle worth it. No.
I would prefer to have running water than to record in a castle.
Not be in a war-torn area.
Oh my God. Yeah. Bizarre. I never knew that part. Like, I mean,
I guess I just never gave it any thought. It's interesting how long I've listened to these guys and haven't really looked into their history. So
yeah, same. And also, how many bands have you heard of that have ever recorded in a castle?
I don't know. I feel like in Europe it's probably more common. I feel like Magma's probably recorded in a castle. If Magma,
oh yeah, those fucking guys look like they've only recorded in castles.
If Magma hasn't recorded in a castle, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. Not like I'm a huge fan or anything, but
I wouldn't be surprised if Ride the Lightning was recorded in a castle. Wasn't it recorded in Denmark, or all those early Metallica albums were like in Denmark?
I have no idea.
I think so, because of Lars. Maybe not a castle, but whatever. But today we will be talking about 6 albums total. First album was actually released in 1969, but they recorded one in 1968 that was released some years later, but we'll be talking about the 68 one first. And then the last album of this era, 1973. It's a nice cut and dry chunk of albums. Honestly, I would only cover these albums if I decide to stop. No, we're not going to do discographies anymore. We're going to do just the albums that we want to do. Yeah. Can would be this episode. I'm not even looking forward to part 2 at all.
I would have tacked on 2 more.
Yeah, 1 or 2. I'm sure the other part has good albums, but
yeah,
these are the ones, baby. But anyway, yeah, I guess might as well jump into it.
I am ready. So this album, it was shelved. It was unreleased because no one wanted it. It was rejected by everyone. Everyone. It was recorded in 1968, but it wasn't officially released until 1981. The original actual title is Prepare to Meet Thy Noom, but it's on the reissue on streaming everywhere else. It's listed as Delay 1968. Original title is way cooler.
Way cooler.
This is the only album I hadn't heard in going into this.
Oh, really? This is one of the most evil can riffs I've ever heard.
I was gonna say, they don't really go dark that often.
Almost never.
Yeah, but
Well, they go dark, but not like this.
yeah, this is by far the darkest song they do.
100%.
So is there like when the organ kicks in, or is it already in? Kind
There's some
of
organ in there, yeah.
makes it a little more sinister and
Yeah. It's a little rough. It's not like shitty, but there's no like. It's not very tight, and that's what we come to expect from them at a certain point.
yeah. Also, one of Mooney's like craziest vocal performances to me. Because I feel like there's times where he sounds like himself, there's times where he sounds like Randy Newman, and there's times where he sounds like Captain Beefheart. Like,
There are some times when he sounds like doing like a fake woman voice.
he is all over the place on this
Sure
song.
Worst, least favorite.
Same. Which is hard and a bit of a spoiler alert because I enjoyed every
Every album.
but I think this due to the nature of it and that this isn't fully formed can. I have to give it that. But saying that, I think it's a really cool listen. It's a really neat listen. As someone who's been listening for a long time and I've never heard this stuff before, I really enjoyed it.
I didn't think it was gonna be this good, honestly. Yeah, it is a good album. It's flawed as fuck, but the good ultimately outweighs the bad, 100%. It is the worst of this bunch of albums, but it's still a solid album. And when I heard it, like, so this was shelved completely. Not even just like it's like, well, we couldn't sell this, no one wanted it, so we're just gonna make a whole new album and just ditch this one entirely.
Mhm.
And then you hear this, like, it's not that inaccessible. It's not even that crazy.
No, not at all. But yeah, I'm glad that the recordings survived and eventually got to see the light of day.
Not only that, it sounds as good as the next album and the next album and the next. It sounds like maybe performance-wise, it's not as tight, but production-wise, it's the same.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like demos
No.
at all. Second track, it's 30 seconds. Made me laugh.
Oh, and yeah, PNOOM. It's like a 28-second free jazz piece.
And then it just sounds like a band is falling downstairs while trying to play the song. So it's
That's kind of what it is. A lot of this stuff doesn't work for me, but having said that, the opener, Butterfly, and Thief, I think are two of some of their best songs, which is pretty wild that basically every album has at least one or two of their best songs.
Mm-hmm. Thief is, I do like his more raspy vocals on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little more melodic.
There's a few different personalities and faces to Can. There's like the really lengthy, jammy, krautrocky stuff, and then there's the super insane experimental stuff, and then there's the groovy, dark, clean, minimal stuff.
Yeah,
that's my Can.
That's your Can.
That's my Can, and that's what Thief is. I think it's fucking absolutely rules. Really good bass lines with these complementing guitar leads. It's a fantastic style, and it's just I can never get tired of it for whatever the hell reason. Also, the closer is solid too. Little Star of Bethlehem.
Oh yeah, that feels like one of their most like straightforward, blues driven rock and roll songs, but it's still weird. I like the little touches of like occasional feedback in the background.
Yeah.
Even when Can's trying to make normal music, it's not going to come out normal.
And speaking of that, the reason this is worst are the other songs. So songs like 19th Century Man and Uphill and Man Named Joe.
I like 19th Century Man.
Really?
I do like it.
Well, okay, I can see. So the reason I don't like it is part of the reason you do like it. It is so hilariously funky.
Yeah.
So on this album, they dabble with regular ass styles of music. That's the funky one.
Mm-hmm.
Uphill is like straightforward garage rock.
Mm-hmm.
Man Named Joe is like very swing. And they all feel so clumsy to me.
Man Named Joe sounds like the cast of Bob's Burgers sung that song.
It is some horrific vocal choices. I will admit, there's some pretty, oh boy, appalling.
But yeah, that is like the most wacky thing. But
it's wacky.
Yeah, I feel like being wacky is also part of Can. So, you know.
Definitely, but honestly, I'm not even a huge fan of like them going nuts. Like a lot of it bothers me, and I pick and choose my Can. But Man Named Joe is I'm gonna go and say their worst song. Like
probably
worst like song, maybe not experimental piece thing, but like I'm not ever going back to that. It makes me laugh though.
Yeah, I'll go back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind going back to the album in general. It's like it's not bad at all, and of course the songs that are great are great. And it's like, despite the songs I don't like, it is sequenced in a way that makes sense. Like it opens strong, it closes strong, and it has one banger right in the middle. Mm-hmm. So at least it has like some momentum to it.
Does have some things going for it, and it's weird. Usually albums like this were like for hardcore fans only, but I feel like if you're listening to Can, you're not a casual.
That's what I keep thinking, but then I keep meeting normies who are like, oh, Can's great. I know.
Yeah.
Why do you know?
I'm gonna say if you like Can, listen to this then. Yeah.
It's honestly songs like Thief or they're examples of like, how do you not like that? Like,
if anything, this is probably more digestible for people. Like there's reasonable song lengths.
Mostly they're not too bad here. They're not short by any means.
No, but they're not 15, 20 minutes either.
To be fair, even on the albums where they have 20-minute songs, there are like 3-4 minute songs on there.
There are.
They usually do separate them quite a bit, but in any case, definitely the worst of this whole era. Both of our worst and least favorites. Still surprisingly good, and if you like Can, you like it. But Man Named Joe blows. I'm sticking with that one.
Joe blows.
Joe blows. But now onto their first officially released album, where they decided to actually release it because someone decided to put it out. I don't know exactly the story, but it was this album is their attempt to be accessible. It was them be like, listen, that first album was wild. Let's bring it in, guys. Let's come together. Let's make a normal album. And they came out with 1969's Monster Movie.
I love the cover for this. I don't know if the word kaiju was in the vernacular, but it's arguably more of a kaiju cover than a... It's
Galactus.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that's what...
I didn't know until recently either, at least according to Wiki. Of course, everything is based off Wiki. We don't know for sure, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was from the Thor 1966 comic. That's what they got. I don't know if they lifted the entire image, but at least heavily.
Sure, yeah. I get it.
This sounds much more like the Can we know.
Yes.
More driving, a little bit tighter. This song is also a pretty bad example of Mooney's vocals because he's doing a beat poetry kind of spoken word thing, which is not very characteristic.
Also, one of their noisier songs too.
Yeah, it's cool and it's hypnotic and it goes on a while. I wouldn't say this is the best intro to krautrock for newbies though. This song anyway.
I guess it depends. When I was a young warthog, it worked for me because Like, I like Pink Floyd, like, especially, like, the Syd Barrett pre-Dark Side of the Moon stuff, and I like that stuff, too. But, like, I wanted this.
Yeah.
Like, in my head, I wanted this. So, yeah, I don't know. If you're a fan of, like, that era of Pink Floyd, I think this is definitely...
I actually had never heard this album before.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, there's a lot of bands where I just like, you know what, I have my handful of albums, I'll get to the others at some point and never do.
Yeah, especially if it's just like, fuck, I really like these 3 albums, so I really want to fuck it up. And
I have, there's a lot of that as well. This is a good fucking album. This is one of the, I think one of their more consistent albums, actually.
Yeah, really, really solid front to back. This is going to be one of those episodes where I don't really have too much negative to say.
Yeah, nor do I. I mean, I have negative to say, but it's always coupled with something very nice. But here, it's a very temperate album compared to how they'll be in one album from now or 2 albums from now or whatever.
Yeah.
It does feel very even.
For me, I feel like the opener and the closer are like the big tracks and what I remember most. So I was surprised, like a song like Mary Mary So Contrary was actually a highlight for me.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I like the more like psychedelic nature of that, where like Father is this unhinged noise stuff.
It's good pacing. It's just we set you up with this big, long, jammy, noisy thing, and then it lulls you in. It's more minimal. It's more mellow. It's not like soft, but it's more mellow. And then it just jams, and it's just hypnotic. That's just what krautrock does the best, or at least, well, a lot of krautrock is really good with the kind of letting you zone out, and it becomes very hypnotic. But these guys are the fucking best at it.
Yeah. When we did our last Swans episode, I was thinking about how what's his, I'm never gonna say it right.
Yeah.
How he was like, he talks about that Pink Floyd track where he's like, that was like the first time I heard screaming in music.
Yeah. It was between Syd Barrett and Gilmore, right?
Yeah. And then so I think about that whenever I hear like screaming in rock music in like the 70s and 60s, and like Outside My Door is not, it's probably the weakest song on here.
It is. It's the most traditionally 60s sounding thing.
Yeah, sure. But the screaming is some good screaming on that song.
This doesn't, aside from that song a little bit, this does not feel like 1969. That is a thing about Can. They are out of time.
Absolutely. They do have like a 70s like psychedelic vibe to them, but the will to incorporate sparing electronics here or there, or like string sections, helps give them this timeless feel. Yeah,
and also the fact that even amongst other krautrock bands, they sound like no one else.
They are the most like psychedelic krautrock band for sure, or that I've heard at least. Not to mention, man, Jockey's drums. Like, there's something about those drums that really make Can. He is the king of the. I'm going to play one beat, start to finish, but like his beats are just phenomenal. They're so busy, and there's so many interesting uses of tom. Like, there's a lot of beats where I'm like, how is he doing that? It sounds like there's like 3 bass drums and he has 4 feet or something. It's just really, like again, like a machine, just really it's almost like a telegraph or something. I was really glad the first time I heard them was actually like a video clip of them performing. So like I got to see it, and I was just like, feels like the most perfect band ever. Pretty close to it. So they will do this pretty much on every album from this point onward. You get a song like You Do Right. That's 20 minutes. They always have to have a 20-minute song. This one's good. Dude, I think I don't know how many 20-minute songs they have, but
They have 2 in this chunk of albums. Yeah.
This one is not as strong to me. Because I feel like it's the most repetitive. Later on, they get much better at taking you on these big journeys. Mm-hmm. And where you end is not even remotely the same as where you started. But there's still really cool shit here. Like the bass, like what a killer.
Great bass on this one. Around 11 minutes in, that's when I'm like, okay, it's still good and I'm still enjoying this, but it definitely could have ended by this point. Like we're 11 minutes in, but by the end of it, it's like, it didn't feel that there are other tracks of theirs where I'm like, fuck, wrap it up. And that's not one of them. That says a lot for a 20-minute fucking song.
I will say that there are some riffs occasionally where I'm like, if you just play that for 20 minutes, I would be fine. But
there are riffs where I wish they play for an hour.
But oddly, I feel like they don't sometimes. So
there's some songs where I'm just like, you made that one 15 minutes and this one not.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I want to hear this forever.
So samples are for, baby.
I suppose so. But yeah, it's a good album. Strong debut. Strong official debut anyway. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, this is krautrock in a nutshell. Like because this one actually doesn't have any crazy experimental stuff. The 20-minute track is mostly jamming. Yeah. It's not later on it'll be jamming and then a bunch of fucking insanity. Mm-hmm. So this is actually fairly accessible. It's not a bad debut in terms of like introducing people to the band.
Not at all. Not at all. Are there better? Yes, there are better.
There are better for sure, but it's still a strong album. It's the last full length or the last full album with Mooney on vocals. He'll be on 2 tracks on the next album, but that's it. And overall, I don't have any problem with his voice on any of these songs or on the previous one so much. But when recording this album, Holger said, when we designed our studio, I just picked up the whole logic about that, and we were able to do that without an engineer. We are very proud of that. The editing was really a minor step. It was not so extensive as it is today. All of Can Music was live recordings played in this castle. So this was also recorded in the castle.
Nice.
I forgot about that.
More castles.
So that makes a lot of sense. And we're not going to get to it too much on this episode, but in part 2, it becomes a bigger issue when they stop recording live. Because the band is the band. There is little to no overdubs. Yeah. Or there's some, I'm sure with the experimental stuff, there's more, but the band is what the band is. It's all jammed. It's all live. This is what they sounded like, which is probably explains why it holds up and it sounds so good now, because it was straight through.
Yeah.
There's no kind of dated effects. There's no like, oh, let's see what this sounds like when we barely discovered this technology. And it sounds like wonky 10 years later. Like a lot of, Beach Boys did pretty good, but there's still some stuff that's like, ooh, that's dated.
Also, I really liked that early Kraftwerk stuff where they were doing stuff like this, and they were killer live too. So
it is like a deceptively musically impressive genre.
Yeah, because it does feel kind of loose.
Yeah,
but,
loose and jammy and repetitive. Mm-hmm. But a lot of these guys have like jazz backgrounds. They just decided to keep playing the same thing. I mentioned it several times in the past, but there was an old documentary on krautrock I saw years ago. I have no idea what it's called. It was so long ago, but obviously Can was a big part of it, and Jackie was in it, and he was saying like, "Yeah, I just decided to how about if I played the same thing over and over again? Like no one's doing that." To think that's like a what's the word? Innovative move to like, how about if I play it again the same way? Like that, what? That's innovative, and it was at the time.
I could see that where you're just like, fuck, I'm tired of reading sheet music. I'm just gonna
groove, dude. I'm just gonna jam and feel it.
Yeah.
Fucking feels good, baby. So yeah, this next album, I guess it's technically not canon, but I insisted, and Alex agrees.
It's fucking canon to me.
It's fucking canon. Make no mistake, this is a legit Can album, but it is put under compilations. It's considered a compilation, I guess. It's a compilation of songs they wrote for movies, all of which I honestly didn't even know they were real until this episode.
I know.
I thought it was like a concept, like a fake soundtrack thing, but they're all real movies. They all wrote songs for them. And yeah, it came out in 1970. This is Soundtracks. Another one of their best songs.
I feel like this, even though it's like from different soundtracks, this does like a good job with setting like a mood. And
yep, definitely. Now we got Damo Suzuki on vocals. Beautiful. So goddamn beautiful.
It's just something about the way he performs that doesn't matter that he's not saying words.
Yeah, he's speaking several languages, gibberish. He's actually not really a singer, as we'll talk about in a minute.
Kind of reminds me of Edward James Olmos's character in Blade Runner.
That's just Cholo speak, but in the future.
Ah, yeah.
He's still the same guy from Stand Deliver in that movie.
Same guy. Yeah, that guy's foot on the bass pedal is just...
Goddamn, what a fucking awesome opener.
Yeah, this may be like my like second most listened to Can album.
This might be my most listened to Can album. Well, you know what? I would say second, but it's up there.
Yeah.
It's maybe it's one or the other.
So yeah, when you're like, is it Can? I was like, absolutely is.
It has to be Can.
Yeah.
This is a fucking great album. It's paced badly and wonky. And also the opener, Deadlock, which is an incredible song. It's the opening track, but it has a bitch ass fade out. It has a bitch ass.
I know you don't like those.
A bitch ass quick fade out. It's a death sentence no matter where you put it on the album. It always sucks. Make it a long fade out or cut it off, chop it off. But
commit to something.
But following up, you got Tango Whiskey Man, which fucking rules so hard. It's probably one of my favorite drum beats of all time in that song.
Yeah, I'm glad you also wrote "Rules So Fucking Hard" as well.
Oh yeah, it's so on my notes. It literally says that.
Yeah, the guitar playing rules. It's great.
Gorgeous fucking song. Stuff like that is where I feel like I can show it to anybody and they're like, "This is pretty goddamn fun." Like I don't know how you did something like that.
And then that also like. Another like Suzuki highlight, or it's just like, man, he knows how to get these like harmonies or these like hooky things, and it just feels good.
He has good vocal lines that end up being really simple, but just exactly what the song needs. Yeah, it's like he's clearly not a musician. He's not a singer. He's not even really speaking any languages. But when someone fits a project, that's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It fucking works. It fits. It feels good. Yeah, and that's basically what he is for Can. He is the Can singer to, I guess, most people, to me anyway. But having said that, this thing is paced pretty fucking badly, and it has a lot of dead moments. Aside from like the first 4 tracks, which are like banger after banger. Track 3 is Deadlock. Titelmusik, or I'm sure it means title music.
Yeah.
It's just a variation of the opener, but it's like there's more organs in it and it's a little bit more ambient and it's instrumental.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's a little more epic in nature, more film score.
Yeah, it's more film score. Like it's only a minute and 40 seconds. There's no vocals, but it's still cool. Then you get Turn the Light On, Leave Me Alone, which is, man, I don't know what you couldn't compare that to, because it feels like something I'm very familiar with, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, I feel like that this falls into the more like jam band.
I think it's more garage rock.
You think so?
It feels pretty garagey because it's not like with Deadlock and Tango Whiskey Man, they're definitely more minor key and on the darker side. That one makes it a little bit more rocking, a little bit more lighthearted.
There's a flute on it. The most lighthearted of instruments.
It is the lightest of all, for sure. And then two of the tracks with Mooney on it are Soul Desert and the closer She Brings the Rain. Soul Desert is his worst vocal performance by far. Holy God. I can't take that. I actually hate that song.
I was like, he has no business singing like this.
No.
But I love the commitment.
I can't even. How do you describe how he's singing on that song? It's fucking hilarious.
Like he's trying to go high pitch, but he can't. Yeah. So it's just like broken.
You know what he sounds like? He sounds like when Homer Simpson tries to mimic Marge.
Oh, yeah.
That's how weird and like why is he doing that?
Yeah.
I don't. It's so unnatural sounding. And the song itself is pretty abrasive. It's not terrible. I found it to be like an average song made bad by the vocals.
Mm-hmm. Another jarring thing about this song is I don't know if it's the ride cymbal per se, but I'm just going to say it's the ride cymbal. Sounds like a fucking pickaxe in a coal mine, and it just like
piercing. It's a piercing song.
Right in your ears.
It is. And it's not even just the cymbals. It's his voice and as well as the cymbals. They're both like, Jesus.
Yeah.
And then after that, I used to be pretty lukewarm, borderline negative on Mother Sky. I found myself enjoying it a lot more these days.
I love it. It's always been one of my favorite songs. I could swear someone sampled, like I have this like thing in my head of like a hip hop song sampling it, but I looked on Who Samples and I guess I just fucking imagined it. But
it's the one Can song nobody sampled.
Did I write down? I don't even think I wrote down where it was, but anyways, I'm sure someone has, and it's just not credited. Something I like about this song is there is a drum solo here, but it's not presented to you as a drum solo. It fits the song. The other instruments are still going. It just so happens to be the drums are
taking over,
doing the nuttiest stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like a drum solo at all. And that's really hard to pull off in a song. So
that's because Jackie's the fucking best. He's so goddamn good. Yeah. I mean, it's a 14.5-minute song. It is not at all like a breeze. And what I actually don't like about their albums, because I don't think any other albums are perfect. And I think they do this at least once on every album. Mm-hmm. They have these, like, especially this album, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 1 minute, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 14 minutes, 4 minutes. So what ends up happening with pacing is you're going through this album and it's flying by. And then you get to this one song and you're on it for a while. Mm-hmm. And then another song comes on and then it's over. And it feels like, wait, what the fuck? So it feels like the entire album was this one song.
Yeah.
And another album that does that is you probably haven't heard it, but Terraform by Shellac.
I've not heard that.
It's their third album, I think, or second album, I think. Yeah, and it opens with a 12-minute track. It's a cool track, mm-hmm. but the whole album is like 30 minutes, and it opens with a 12-minute song. So you sit to this whole song, and then the album is basically over right after. It goes by so fast. It's like you notice it. I notice it worse on a different album than this one, but I feel like on pretty much every album where they do that, they throw a giant song in between a bunch of short songs. It feels really uneven.
I don't mind it here because I think She Brings the Rain is
one hell of a closer,
a delightful closer, one of Mooney's best.
I would say it's my favorite Mooney performance, my favorite Mooney song.
It's also one of the more like normal Can songs.
I would say of the two. I'm thinking of two normal Can songs mm-hmm. that could and have been on the radio at some point. This is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one, no one can hear this and be like, this is a weird, crazy band. No, this is a very straightforward, beautiful song.
Also on the other album, even some of Mooney's stuff feels mumbly.
Yeah.
And here the lyrics are this like crystal clear.
Very clear. It's led by a bass. There's no drums, by the way. No drums spearheaded by a bass, really prominent bass, and then these really cool jazzy guitar lines.
Mm-hmm.
And the vocals, they're right up in front, and they're very clear, and it sounds good, and it's a nice warm blanket of a song, and I really do love that song. God damn it,
Nice.
but yeah, the pair things off, but this is a fucking must. There's just, when 3 out of your 7 tracks are some of the best songs you've ever done,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard not to really push this one.
Yeah. And, except for Soul, which I don't even really hate that much.
I do hate it, but it's also like 3 minutes, 40 seconds. It's not a huge encumbrance.
Yeah.
Is that the right word?
For me, Mother's Sky was the thing that bought me into this album. So
That's so funny. Like that was the one where it's like, if anything's gonna take me out, it's gonna be that song. And this time it didn't. It used to. I used to skip it every time, but now I am on board with Mother's Sky.
yeah, I think it goes into the thing where it's like, I like the idea of prog rock. I don't think I like how it's performed most of the time. But like if prog rock was more like Mother's Sky,
I will never diss prog rock just out of my love for early Yes. I mean, I have a deep love of Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I think I've tried to get you to listen to, I don't know if you have Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Tarkus.
I don't know if I've only
There's
heard
like an armadillo tank on the cover. You would know if you listen to Tarkus.
I have not. I've only heard Brain Salad Surgery, which I think is a popular one.
How that album cover looks is how Tarkus sounds.
Okay, so Giger.
That's one of the coolest album covers ever, and
Yeah.
I feel like the music doesn't fucking match at all for
Every song on that album does not sound like the one before. It's a very jumbled album for sure.
Tarkus. Tarkus is where it's at, baby.
All right. I'll consider some Tarkus. Oh shit. But yeah, cool ass fucking album. Definitely should be considered canon. Wikipedia, get your shit together, put it on the fucking main page. So Damo joins in the most wacky, insane, bizarre way possible. And I've read different accounts of this from different places.
Yeah.
Holger, this is Holger's point of view. And he talks about first how Mooney left. He says, when Mooney left, it was a problem for us. We suddenly felt quite left alone in a way. But 3 months later, I found Damo Suzuki in Munich on the street. He was praying to the sun with wild gestures. I was in a cafe with Jackie and said to him, "See that guy there? He will become our next singer."
Only bad things can happen if that's how you
pick up homeless people to become your new singer.
Reminds me of like a Elden Ring character. You just wandering the landscape and there's like
praying to the sun with gestures.
Yeah.
So that's one way. I think on Wikipedia it says like, oh, they found Damo busking on the street. So I wouldn't say going wild and screaming in the middle of the street is the same as busking.
No, it's not.
It's not, because that's he says praying to the sun with wild gestures. I heard somewhere else saying that he was literally in the middle of like a town square screaming, losing his fucking mind. And I don't know exactly the story, but I like all of them.
all of them are appropriate. He's you want to know how Damo Suzuki is the equivalent of wanting to know how the Joker got these scars. It's going to change every time.
And I'm glad. But also, how else would a band like this find their best singer than
exactly like this?
A fucking maniac in the middle of the street and be like, yeah, guy, I have a good feeling about that guy screaming at people.
Also, how crazy to like live in one of the whitest places ever. Your two most popular frontmen are not white.
Oh yeah. Mooney's black, right?
Yes,
but he's also American, and then Damo is obviously Japanese.
Yeah. So
that also that got me with both of them. Like, you got an American and a Japanese guy in your German band that came from. You guys were born during World War II, and wait, what?
Very interesting band. Very interesting band.
Yeah, wild stuff. But now we're on to the first official album with Damo. This is him all the way through. He's now a full part of the band. First official release with him. And this is a big boy of an album.
Mm-hmm.
This is a double album. The longest one we're covering here. That's for damn sure. This is 1971's Tago Mago. This is probably going to take a minute.
Oh.
No, no, this one's not so bad. No, I was thinking of another album. Oh, I love this song.
This is the first song I heard from them.
Hell of a first song. That is a good introduction.
I can't really because everything feels so far away with a lot of music for me, and I guess this does too. Very rarely can I pinpoint feeling so blown away in so many emotions the first time. And
it's so good.
But yeah, I was just why aren't they playing this on classic rock radio stations?
It's a fucking crime. How is this not fucking better than all that bullshit? Oh my god.
But also, it's a gift and a curse because then it'd be played out.
It would.
Yeah. Oh.
It feels so good. Oh. And this is a long song. It takes some shifts.
Oh yeah.
This is just the first section, which is incredible. But goddamn, some depth.
I love this quiet fills on the drums.
Oh, it's so natural. These are they really had their shit together at this point. Oh, that's why I love Jackie so much.
Yeah.
Oh. Everything he does feels so percussive all the time.
Just gonna listen to all of Paper House.
It's so long too. It's such a long song. No, we can't. It's such an incredible opener.
That was only 2 minutes. It felt like 30 seconds.
This album, so it is very lengthy.
Also, best personal favorite.
Oh, holy shit! I'm with you and I'm against you. I'm with you so hard. I'm against you so hard. This album bums me the fuck out.
Does it?
Yeah.
It is insane to me seeing how I don't know, maybe nostalgia won out on this one for me.
I can say the same for my picks. Yeah.
But also I just think it's insane. I love this album.
It is quite good. Here's the thing. So it's a double album. If it was a single album, this would be an easy best. Easy best.
Yeah.
The second half is one of the hardest things to listen to in the entire this whole episode.
I disagree. I
find the second half to be painful.
No.
Defend the 250. No. The first one is Hallelujah. Is 18 minutes, but I think it's actually strong. And if it would have ended there, I would have been great album, best, easy best. But then it moves on to a 17-minute song, and then an 11-minute song, and then a 7-minute song. And they're out of those three, two of them are complete experimental insanity that become very, very, very hard to listen to after the first 3 minutes, let alone 25 minutes.
I love it because I think those songs go places.
So I can't pronounce it, but Amgm.
Yes.
Defend that one, please.
So after Hallelujah, which I love.
Yes.
And I guess we'll round back to that one. That is very funky, very more musical driven.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was a lot. So I like the way Angum or whatever. It's just a little more spooky and atmospheric. And I'm like, okay, I can breathe after that.
But for 17 minutes,
yes,
you need to 17 minutes to catch your breath.
Yes. Yes.
So it does have some really, really fucking cool, creepy moments, really deep, almost horror movie, like synth, bassy synth sounds.
Yeah.
Really cool sounds. It's 17 minutes, like that long for what that is. I'm thinking like 3 minutes of creepiness to kind of like space out what's going to happen next. But it's like, no, that's the whole thing. It's going to go on for a long time.
Like, are there dogs barking?
Most likely. That sounds right.
What did I write? Let's just give it a whirl.
This is actually super creepy. Yeah. Those drums sound very cool. But for 17 minutes,
I feel like it's different enough. I didn't do my proper timestamp, but whatever. Where like, you know, we talked about the Mars Volta, another favorite of mine. And then my favorite album is Francis the Mute.
That was my least favorite.
I'm not going to argue.
It was my least favorite. It's just one I didn't like.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you there. That is what you like to call the dicking around.
Yeah. Just
atmospheric. There's something about track 5 where it works for me, and I didn't feel it.
Okay, now defend Pecking O.
That one's easier.
It's 11 minutes. It's not quite as long.
Yeah.
But that one I found to be more annoying.
Yeah.
Because it's whereas Amg is more creepy and like just crazy weird drum fills here and there, and it's a lot of more spooky. Pecking O is way more electronic and hilarious and crazy.
Absolutely. I like the delayed vocal. I think this went full Robert on this album.
I think so.
I like the delayed vocal effects. I wasn't expecting that like weird Latin part.
Damo sounds like a fucking auctioneer in that song.
Yeah. I don't know why his vocals. I'm like, it's like a hybrid of like a cartoon cat screaming at a man having a stroke.
It's not that. I mean, it's.
I love how I wrote these things I thought would be funny, and then you're like, defend it, and I'm like, I guess that's not funny if you're coming from a place that.
Like, tell me why it's good. Because he sounds like a cat
screaming at him. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why it's good. All right. My mistake.
Sorry.
It has a lot of like really kooky drum machine sounds and all. It feels way more like dicking around than the track before it, even though it's more condensed.
And then Bring Me Coffee or Tea.
That song is actually good.
Yes.
It's another experimental one, but it's shorter, but it's also way more musical.
Yes. I love, surprisingly for a psychedelic band, they don't really go Middle Eastern too much.
Oh yeah.
And then again, the drums are just amazing.
So now that we've debated the really
back half,
intense second half
or second disc,
the first half is flawless.
Absolutely.
It's so like the 1-2 punch of Paper House and Mushroom is pretty. It's like, I think, unmatched in this whole period.
Mushrooms maybe like not his most unique beat, but it's one of his greatest beats ever. It just gets.
It's the jockey beat. It's the reason I love his drumming. It's like where some people fall back on a 1-2 beat, or some people fall back on just a standard whatever 4/4 kind of. He falls back on that thing.
Yeah,
and it's just so it moves.
Very like unique snare sound too.
Yeah, he always has the same snare sound.
Yeah, because a lot of drums just kind of fall into like 1 or 2 camps where it's kind of metal and tingy, or it like rings. But this is like you said, this is Can.
It is Can. And then by the way, the first 4 tracks, they really bleed all together and they all flow really seamlessly. So after that, you get Oh Yeah, which is oh yeah, oh boy, so fucking cool.
There's like some Asian instruments on there, I'm assuming.
It's even more psychedelic, very dark, has like some reverse vocals and sounds. And then it takes this crazy groovy turn toward the end, but it's just so
it's why they're so good. The song's like, oh yeah, man, god damn, no one sounds like this. No one is able to pull it off this well since, in my opinion.
And then getting back to Hallelujah.
Yeah.
It's funky as all hell. And that's one of the best examples of the drums and the bass just being in lockstep together. And I'm like, I could listen to that groove, that beat for 20 minutes.
It's 18 minutes and I don't mind it because it's the kind of song where if you're zoning out, if you're multitasking, if you're driving, if you're high, if you're doing anything where you're just trying to fucking let go, that is what you want.
Yeah.
You want songs like that. Like, it feels good. It's almost comforting that they go on for so long in a weird way.
And it does do different things. Like at some point it kind of there's like this smooth jazz piano and then it goes back to being funky. And
yeah, it's good. It is good. And it would have been perfect if the album ended there for me. It would have been perfect.
And then the second half of the album just
oh man. And then, but what this does though is now they're doing that. Like, cause before this, they didn't fuck around with anything wild. And now they are fucking around.
Yeah, they are.
And they will continue to fuck around. Not maybe to this extent because this is the biggest and longest album, but they still keep it around.
And I'm clearly supportive of it.
Yeah. I support the sentiment. I like the experimentation. I like the creepiness. I want to hear more of that. I don't want to hear it for fucking 30 minutes straight.
Fair, but also I love it so much.
Fair enough. Alex's best and personal favorite. Listen, even if you don't want to handle all the crazy experimental stuff, the first half it's a must.
Or go straight to Bring Me Coffee or Tea.
Or that. Seriously, if you've never heard Ken and you're for some reason hearing this, the first 4 tracks alone, maybe even the first 3, if you don't want to make the investment of an 18-minute song, that will let you know immediately if you want more.
Yes.
So I guess this album cover, which I think is my favorite album cover of all this era.
Dude, I agree. Yes. And I'm so mad because there's a different album cover and that's the one I have. And I'm just
is it a reissue version?
I don't know if it's considered a reissue, but this like artwork is just awesome. It's the 70s in a nutshell.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the 40th anniversary cover can get fucked.
Is it Damo and Jackie on the cover? Just their backs to the backs to the camera.
Like that. Like the cover is the fucking album. It's one of the instances where you can judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. It actually matches perfectly. It's a beautiful fucking cover. I think it's the coolest cover of this whole era.
40th anniversary cover can go get fucked. I should have just bought a different version.
Yeah.
But I was just like, it's 40th anniversary. I don't own this.
Fair enough.
The music sounds the same.
It does. The cover was designed by Ulrich Eichberger, who also did Canned Heat, Marilyn Monroe, Ike and Tina Turner, Amandul 2, Pablo and some future Can records, but they might be in part 2. Maybe not so much in this era.
You ever listen to Popol?
No.
I've heard a smattering of songs.
And?
I remember it being okay.
All right. I've never heard of them.
I think I was... When you're younger and you have more time, you can make more...
rabbit holes.
Yeah, more of an effort to go down these avenues.
So since this was the first big project, big album, whatever, with Damo, Holger said, I think it was logical that things would change because we learned by that time. We learned to get along with our equipment much better. And we knew how to produce the music until we started using a multi-track machine. That's how old these motherfuckers are. A multi-track machine. Up to that point, we'd been using a 2-track stereo machine without mixing. Without these multi-track facilities, I would take the tapes home at night and I would be editing a little bit. So here on this album, on the opening track, you can hear it immediately. As soon as like the cut comes, when the song speeds up, you can hear like, oh, that was probably when he cut. And that's when where the edit was. Before that, no editing, no mixing. It was just them live in a castle. Like that was it.
I think it's crazy that with editing, they still capture this like warm sound where it feels like you're in the room with them.
Still very live. It's still very much recorded live. But now we are on to the next one. This one has been sampled quite a bit.
You know what? We're getting through this at a pace I was not expecting, and it's nice.
It is nice, and it's still a long episode. It's not an insane long episode the way some of our, but it's still, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. This song and this album have been sampled to death. If you've heard Ken, you've probably heard something from this album, I imagine. But this is 1972's Ege Bamyasi.
In my humble opinion of this entire era, their worst opener.
I know. I think
it's their worst opener. It's not like a bad song, but it never worked for me. And I think it's out of all the openers, this is the worst one.
I love the more like jazzy, funky side of Can. So this is like perfect for me.
An interesting thing about this song particularly though is that the song is the drums.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
the bass is hitting like one note every once in a while.
Yeah,
there's no like guitar lines. Vocals are even like mumbling. And the song is and the song is this for 9 minutes and then it just ends. It doesn't go anywhere.
I'm not like big into jazz, but there's a handful of like cliche albums that I like, and I Miles Davis's Bitches Brew and On the Corner is the other one, which I actually started listening to because Dale from the Melvins was like Miles Davis On the Corner. And so I'm like this, not as crazy as something as On the Corner, but has that like same energy for me.
It is very jazzy. It's one of the most jazzy things they've done.
Because also On the Corner is like one of the more funkier things Miles Davis has done. So you get this like cool.
This is pretty funky too. Like all the percussion.
Yes.
It's like the most 70s thing, the most 70s sounding thing about this.
Also, if anyone is like me and you like this chaos, there's a James Brown album. I feel like I've talked about it before, but I'm going to talk about it.
Show is funky.
Show is funky. This is James Brown on the organ, no singing, all instrumental. Could be a Can album.
Interesting.
So I'm going to push that album forever. Check out Show is Funky by James Brown.
Hell yeah. So like my main problem with that song is simply that it just ends. Like it ends so anticlimactically. And
it's not a bitch ass fade though.
It's not a bitch ass fade out. I will give it that. It's not a bitch ass fade out. Also best personal favorite. And that's not surprising. This is a very beloved album. This one has simply put, this is I think the pacing of this one is super fucked up and not that great.
Yeah.
It has songs in here that I don't like, and I think and it's just uneven. But there is no album with as many of their best songs on it than this one. There's too many amazing songs in it. There's just too many. I can't deny it.
I'm gonna butcher his last name. Steven, is it Malk?
Oh, Malkmus from Pavement.
Yeah. Covering this.
Yeah, I covered
the entire album.
The entire album?
The entire album.
Oh well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I haven't heard. I'm curious. I don't know if, I love Steven Malkmus and I love Pavement. I don't know if I'll love him doing this album.
I think I purchased it just because I was interested, and I'm just like, it's good.
All right, it's close enough.
Yeah.
So there's a lot about this that I love. Okay, so I'll start with the negative because I have plenty of positive. Negative, obviously, I don't love Pinch as an opener. And then Soup, which is, anybody who's heard this album knows Soup is the song where either it makes the album perfect or it fucking ruins the album for you. I'm assuming you like Soup.
I do. I notice every song you hate, I have notes here about like
how much you like it.
I like when he does. I can only describe them as cornholio vocals.
Yes, he does cornholio vocals. Yeah, it's why I said he sounds like an auctioneer. He just starts. He sounds like the crazy cat lady or fucking or the Tasmanian devil. But Soup is a song that I always skipped. It always just annoyed the fuck out of me. Never cared for it. And then now I'm like, no, fuck that. I have to really digest the song. And the first 5 minutes, I'm like, this rules.
Mm-hmm.
And then the remaining 5 minutes,
I think it's one of the first songs where it's like, oh, those are electronics too.
I didn't catch that. Well, I mean, I hear them, but I didn't really, it didn't stuck out to me like that. Because the first 5 minutes are like regular ass can jamming on something really cool, and it's a much heavier vibe. Not even vibe. It's a much heavier riff than anything else in the album. It's very cool. It hits hard. I'm like, yeah, this is actually very fucking cool. And then around 6 minutes, a little earlier, that's when the weird shit comes in and all the wackiness. And then it just gets annoying. I mean, annoying for a cool 4 minutes straight.
I did write that there is dicking around on this song.
A lot of dicking around. Like, again, if it was just the first half and they cut the second, I'm like, this is perfect. Oh, it's beautiful, baby. But yeah, it's just where I'm at. I've never been a fan of that song. My brother Robert, he is like, this is his favorite Can album too. And he loves Soup. So it's a perfect album to him. And it makes me envious. Like, I wish I liked it like that. Like, fucking goddamn it.
Come on over to the dark side with me and Robert.
I want to like it. I just don't. I don't decide these things.
No one does.
But the rest. So every other song I have an infinite amount of good things to say. So Sing Swan Song is one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life. It's one of my favorite songs probably of all time.
I had this idea of what I thought the song was, or like what I remember, and then like when I was just like really sitting, I'm like, man, those guitars are so pretty.
Absolutely gorgeous. It's really dark, but it's truly devastatingly beautiful.
The electric guitars almost sound like bagpipes.
I don't bagpipes. I didn't get bagpipes at all.
Maybe I'm stretching a little bit. Either way, the way the electric guitars mix with like the acoustic guitar is very interesting, and
there's a lot of really interesting textures on that one.
Yeah,
even the synth stuff is really, really cool. There's some hilarious ass percussive sounds. I don't even know what you call them other than hilarious spring sounds, like full on boiling sounds. And it's this legitimately serious and dark song, and it doesn't come across as ridiculous. Like for some reason,
they pulled it off.
It all fits. I don't even understand how it fits, but it's fucking great. I can't really convey how much I love that song. It's like the song that made me fall in love with the band. And then One More Night. This is not like a hyperbole kind of thing. I think it is literally my favorite driving song of all time.
Oh shit. That makes sense.
I have pondered a lot of life decisions to that song in the car. Like it's like 5 minutes. I wish it was fucking 45 minutes.
Yeah, that Can song should be.
I can hear it forever. One More Night I can listen to forever. Yeah. It's just something about it that there's vocals, but they're very minimal. But specifically the key sounds in there, they're so dreamy, and again, it's not psychedelic. I mean, it is, but it's more driving, pardon the pun, and more like it moves more. It's like that one. Probably reminds me the most of Noi out of any of the songs on this album. That's for sure. I
do think about driving music when I think about it. It's just the fucking Autobahn, baby.
Exactly. It's that type of. It's a driving. I don't want to. I keep using the word driving, but it's a driving beat where it's constantly moving. It's never changing. It's steady. It has this good pace to it, and it just moves. It keeps moving. And there's something like infinite about that song. Like you really can't put it on a loop forever. And
how you're talking about the wacky percussion on the last song. There's again, I don't know, much like you didn't know what that. I can only say it's like a power drill.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, man, you motherfucker. And it doesn't sound out of place.
No, like legit power drills. I forgot about all the fucking power drills.
I think I accurately timestamped this one. Let's see.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Like a
What is that?
Like a dentist?
Yeah.
Damo, the original.
It's in 7/8 too.
The original ASMR.
He's doing some patent shit.
Oh yeah,
That's super Mike Patton. Like, yeah, one of the, I'm assuming a huge influence on Mike Patton, if I had to guess. I didn't realize that song was in 7/8. I just counted it right now. It's a good example of like a song that deceptively complex. Yeah, that I feel like One More Night is a hugely underrated song because following it, I mean, it's sandwiched in between two of their more popular songs, but Vitamin C is the one that was sampled by everyone and fucking Jaden Smith
and featured in. I like the song a lot. I don't know why it's that song.
So it's a phenomenal song. It's one of their best songs.
Yeah.
I love it. I have a feeling why it's the one that everyone goes to.
Because it's an average length.
No, it's because of the chorus. It's an undeniably catchy vocal line.
I guess that's the other problem is there's not a lot of choruses and
There's no kind of doesn't have a lot of choruses, not a lot of moments of like, oh, you can sing along to that. Vitamin C is one of the few moments in their entire catalog where you can sing along to it.
The best part though is because it's gibberish, you can sing along.
Well, he's saying.
Well, I'm saying with all their.
Well, you can kind of mumble your way through it. That's what he's doing.
Yeah,
but yeah, Vitamin C is it's really hard not to like that song.
No, it's a great song.
Our buddy Daniel, he posted something and it had like the Jaden Smith thing on it, and I lost my shit.
That's
at him.
why you.
Yeah. I went spazzy nerd on him. I was like, listen, dude, that fucking sucks, and you suck. I didn't say any of that, but I said, this is where it's taken from, by the way.
Yeah.
And I sent him this song. He's like, oh shit, dude, this is great. Is all krautrock like this? And I said, no, it's not.
No,
it is not all like that. This Can.
This band isn't even all like this.
This band isn't even all like that, but also Can is like the best. So it's understandable that's you would hope all krautrock sounds like that. But yeah, it's an undeniably catchy song. It's hard to deny. It's very fucking cool. But the other song on here that would qualify along with She Brings the Rain as let's put it on the radio because it's a pop song. I'm So Green.
Absolutely.
What the fuck? What? I actually literally heard this on the radio at a Coffee Bean once. And I was like, wait, that's not Can. There's no way that's fucking Can.
That's funny you heard it at a Coffee Bean because a few songs I use like coffee shop lounge music as descriptors.
Yeah.
So I can see it. That feels like Can trying to fit in with like American bands of the time. And I'm like, don't.
Yeah, I would say don't.
It's not a bad song.
No, it's a good song, but it definitely does feel out of place. And it's so oddly poppy and happy as shit.
Yeah.
And it feels, out of all the songs on this album, the least confident, especially like in the vocals.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's not, there's no really driving factor in any of the instruments in that song, especially vocals. Vocals are kind of like, they're hushed, but they feel kind of, they're not as, again, confident and concrete. It's like some of the other songs where they have really definitive things. Even in One More Night where he's doing that fucking whisper shout thing, where you can kind of hold on to that. I'm So Green it does feel like they're trying a thing there. Like, yeah, let's just try this happy, kooky thing real quick.
Also, it's sandwiched between two beast songs. Well, for me.
So the closer is Spoon, which was apparently a hit. Like a legit hit.
Good.
First of all, good. But that, I never would have guessed that. It's one of their best songs. Again, one of their best. I mean, fucking so strange. So perfectly strange. And that's like, along with Vitamin C, that's like the other song with like a really definitive vocal line or vocal hook. I think that's my favorite Damo Suzuki vocal performance out of everything, just because it's such a really pretty, unusual vocal line. Because like, the song itself, I don't know how to categorize that in terms of mood or feel. It's not like, it's not dark or sad or happy. It's just like this odd, quirky thing.
I would play it at a coffee shop.
I would too.
Yeah.
it's that good where I wouldn't feel uncomfortable putting it on in front of like strangers.
Fucking normies.
It's just a strange song. It's really unusual, but it's not inaccessible.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't think of actually a single song on the top of my head that's like that, where it's accessible but strange, and you can't really categorize it as feeling one way or another.
That's almost this whole album, like, to summarize this album.
Yeah, it has no one mood.
Yeah.
Everything is so wildly different on here. My biggest problem, ultimately the biggest problem, is the pacing. And that is because what I was saying earlier on soundtracks, Soup is one of their shorter long songs. It's like 10 minutes or whatever. But its placement on the album feels weird. Because once it's over, once you get through Soup, I'm So Green and Spoon are so fucking short. It feels weird. Like the album ends after two really brief songs. It doesn't sound weird when I'm explaining, oh, it's a long song and then two short songs, then it's over. But you feel it when you're hearing it all the way through. It's like, oh, it's over already, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking. I guess I was just like, oh man, I'm having such a good time working on this episode.
Yeah. It's fun. This was not work. This was not work. Most of these I didn't have to listen to multiple times, but I did just for fun. Heard them so many fucking times. But yeah, this one, it's like, even though I have so much problems with the pacing, I have problems with it as an album, some of the best songs of all time are on it.
Yeah.
You can't deny that. I couldn't possibly deny it. It's too fucking good. I love this so much.
I guess it's arguably a better like jumping on point, but
it is because it has more
songs,
more digestible songs, more accessible songs, some of the more dense collection of their good songs. But Tago Mago, it's like you're putting it on from start to finish. The first four are going to hook you. Like the first four are going to be like, damn, this is. Whereas here, like you have to get through Pinch, which is a lot. It's 9 minutes and it's kind of doesn't go anywhere. And then it has this really cool straight, and then you hit Soup. It's like, fuck, it's another roadblock. And once you get through that one,
I love Pinch and Soup too, though.
I wish I loved them.
Yeah.
It just feels they hurt the pacing for me only. But without them, the album would be 10 minutes long. So you kind of need them there.
I think they're rad. All
right. But it is my best and personal favorite. Always has been. I was kind of hoping I would change my mind later in life, but I just love it.
I feel like I've just been under my rock and I've never really talked to other people about Can. So like,
yeah, very rarely, almost never. I can think of maybe one person. I was like, holy shit, Can. Yeah, let's talk about Can.
Not even with you until right now.
Yeah, not even exactly until right now. We just sort of sat on this one for 3.5, almost 4 years.
Well, and then you throw in our actual friendship.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. Like, that's funny. Because I definitely liked them before I met you.
Oh yeah. And same.
And we just never
come up for some reason.
We need to start a new movement, bringing up Can in the first meeting.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on Can?
Yes. Oh, you don't know it's bad. Okay, you got to go.
Okay, gotta go. But yeah, my best and personal favorite. It is rad. It's people like it. You must hear it as well. Honestly, our two picks are the ones you should start with. If I'm being objective, they're actually very good jumping off points.
I could see an argument maybe for this next one.
As could I. So we might as well jump into it. Last album we're going to be covering on this episode. So thank you for hanging with us at this time in life. This is 1973's Future Days. This one takes a while to start, I believe.
I'm going to go a minute in this.
Even then.
No.
Okay, you leave it there.
The album cover, I love how like clean and minimal it is, and normally I'm all for a more psychedelic cover, but there's just something about this where I'm like, it's so clean, I can't argue with it.
Yeah, it's all design. It's all just shapes. It's simple, but it feels like it has a personality.
It's kind of like Can, where it's like you recognize these things, but it's also very foreign.
Yeah.
You ever been to the Rainforest Cafe?
Oh, not since I was a wee lad.
I was just thinking about the Rainforest Cafe.
Why? Oh, because of the song?
I don't know. You can
If this was playing at the Rainforest Cafe, I'd be a regular, dude.
I don't even know if those places are in business still.
I think they might be. So this is already way more floaty and free and mellow and electronic.
I think there's something about this song to me where it feels almost tighter. Not that it's better, but for me, the more like live sounding tracks have like a looseness to them.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, this is very locked in. God, those are really nice synths. Also, let me look up this man's name. R.I.P. to the most recent member of YMO.
Oh, is it Takahashi? No, it's Takahashi. No, it wasn't.
Well, I think one had passed, and then
wait, the second one died
recently.
Oh no! So this sounds unlike any other can that we've. This is really
Sakamoto.
Sakamoto died. No, no, Sakamoto. He was the naughty boy. Fuck. I didn't realize he just died. I literally just bought Robert a shirt with his face on it
for his birthday.
Man. Yeah. It's a quick little detour, like, you know, that doing that episode like really got me into the band, and it's weird like how attached arguably like new to me, and this like when I heard that I was just like, today fucking sucks.
So we lost 2 out of 3 YMO members.
Yeah.
And we have Hosono. He's the last one. Fuck, that sucks. Oh man, he might have been my favorite of all 3. That goddamn.
Yeah, I don't have favorites like that because it's still very like fresh to me.
Yeah.
But those 3 guys are something special.
Super special. But
anyway, so you're talking about synths, and
this album is like the synth heavy electronic album. And I think honestly, their most consistent album. Like this is a fucking awesome album.
That's fair. It is very lean. There is no, well, that song takes a while to get going.
I'll say most things here take a while to get going.
Less dicking around.
Way less dicking around. There's no wild experimental stuff. The longest song is 20 minutes, but it's more like a psychedelic dream fest.
That is one of my favorite Suzuki performances.
Bel Air.
There's just something about the way he's singing on that song, and I can't pinpoint it, that this like hits me in the feels where it's like it just feels so good and right.
It's fucking beautiful, and this is by far the most dreamy album.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the only time they've actually gone dreamy. Most of the time, it's never even close to this level of like psychedelic, where it sounds like space sounds in the background, like little like old timey spaceship sounds and stuff.
There is one other song where I felt Hallelujah.
Yeah,
I felt like there were like some spacey effects there.
Yeah, spaceship sounds.
But outside of that, very rarely.
They're no stranger to the sounds, but like here, it's like almost the focal point. Like everything here this is like the get high and chill and listen, put on the background album, more so than any other album. There's still really good melodies and there's a lot of beautiful stuff here, but nothing that's immediately hooky. I think that's really easy to grab onto.
I bought up Bitch's Brew earlier. Spray, I made me think of Bitch's Brew.
Spray fucking rules.
Yeah, it's darker and weirder than that opening track. I think the assist from the strings there just really helps bring it on home and makes it a classic Can song.
Beautiful stuff. Toward the end, it really starts to channel some sing swan song.
Yeah.
There are moments where you could hear Damo like repeating vocal phrases, like the vocal lines, on different albums. Like I think on Tago Mago, you hear some stuff that he'll use on Vitamin C later on. The next album. So there's like stuff like that where they're sharing elements, but it's a beautiful song. Moonshake is the only.
That is one of the goofiest fucking songs.
It is the only. Like, whereas Ege Bamyasi had a bunch of these really hooky, catchy, shorter songs, that's the only one here. It's the only one that you can kind of like listen to in one sitting. It's cool. I think it's fucking very cool. It has that really krautrocky drum beat.
No, man, that song's this full goof troop. But
you think it's goofy? I don't think it was that goofy.
There's fucking slide whistles.
Really?
Once you put slide whistles in a song. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize. I thought it. Once you put slide whistles on a song, we're done here. You've committed to and there's all sorts of wacky noises on that song. It's not just like
I didn't even think about it. I didn't think about, I guess I've become so accustomed to it because of all the funny sound effects on serious songs
and you like carnival music.
I do love carnival music. I think it's fucking rad. It's 3 minutes, whereas the other 3 songs are 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 20 minutes. Only 4 songs in the album, by the way. And yet it still feels pretty condensed and like not. It arguably has like the most dicking around and jamming and like we're just gonna wander over here for 10 minutes. Yet it still feels the most cohesive and consistent.
Yeah, that's what brings it together. Some home bases to go to on this one instead of wandering all over the place.
Even with Bel Air, which is a thing it does here, it doesn't do on any of the other Giant songs. It starts out with the section, it goes like 5 minutes in, it gets busy, it speeds up, and then
also something about Bel Air while you're there. You would think this band would do more chanting like things.
Oh,
not really, but you get it for a section in Bel Air. This one.
That is cool. Yeah. That is cool. So it starts out with this section and then it goes, it fucking takes this journey. It goes all over. And then 10 minutes in, it goes all ambient. But at the very, very end, it comes back to the first riff, the first section, which is something they haven't done before this, where it's like, all right, it's still one song, everybody. Just reminding you, it's the same song. Whereas before it would just trail off or it would just end abruptly. And it feels more like, let's put some thought into how to construct this. And it's still jammy. It's still free and loose, but we're going to tie it all together.
There's a guitar solo around 16 minutes or so where like my brain just kind of broke because I was tired or whatever. I was like, man, that's some mean guitaring. Not even guitar playing. My brain was just like guitaring.
Now, guitar could also be a verb.
It is.
Like this was I considered giving it best, but because of how consistent it is, there's no fat. Like again, there's fat, but it's like canned fat. So
I was surprised to find out this is more popular than Tago.
Yeah, I was surprised to find that out as well. But like it's consistent. It's a better paced album. It's like out of all of them, I think it just has the best flow. None of the songs stick out as like, oh, fuck. Whereas every other album before this has at least one song that's like, fuck.
Also, in a weird list, looking at this Wikipedia, I see in 2005, GQ listed it as the 100 coolest albums in the world right now, which is oddly specific.
It came in at number 70.
And I could say that is around the time I went in the second most populated market in America to watch Damo, and no one was fucking there.
So what then, GQ? What the fuck now?
Or maybe GQ was just more hip than
maybe, or full of shit like every other publication.
I just think that's interesting. That
what a silly 100 coolest albums in the world right now. It even has an exclamation point, which you don't see that often on these titles.
What's that shitty Well, I guess it's a good song though. Right here, right now. There's no other place I'd rather be.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a song. Someone will know what it is. I'm too lazy to look it up.
Leave it in the comments.
Yeah, whenever I hear right now, I think of that song. So,
Oh, there it is.
But future days, I guess. I mean, that's about it. Like this, after this,
for now, arguably the second episode's going to be more interesting.
yeah. I mean, just more like drama, I guess, so to speak. Not like drama, but like
No one really talks about most these albums on part 2, so
yeah, it'll be an untapped market, that's for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, Damo left after this. I don't know exactly the reason. I do know that he's around still. He's one of the few members in this band that's still alive. Holger died 6 years or so ago, along with Jockey. They died in the same year. When did Michael die? I believe he died earlier, way earlier. Yeah, he died in 2001, way earlier. But Ermin is still here, and he seems to be doing well. but Damo's still around. He does his own crazy. He's very prolific. He does a lot of experimental shit. I'm sure I wouldn't like any of it, but I mean, it's just experimental stuff.
I like how once in a while he'll just work with the random artists I like. Like there's this weird hip hop producer called 6'2". Oh, you like
6'2", yeah.
Yeah, worked with 6'2", and I'm like, that's crazy. And then of course, the god Omar Rodriguez Lopez.
Oh, right. He's extremely prolific. He is on a lot of records. Go to his Wikipedia. It's wild.
Oh, and of course he fucking did shit with Black Midi. I need to look that up.
Holy shit, did he? Oh, okay.
I didn't even know that existed until now.
That is what we are a fan of Black Midi. That is okay. That fits.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But that about does it for this era. Stay tuned for part 2 in the coming months or weeks. I don't know exactly how long these take, but it won't be like
we're not going to make you wait on this one. No.
Yeah, this one isn't. It's only 2 parts instead of usually we do 3 parts, so it's not going to be as bad. But let's do a little recap.
Worst, least favorite, delay. Just because it's not really like the nature of Can, but it's still good if you're a fan. Go listen to it. Best personal favorite, Tago Mago. I love it. I love the dicking around. I love the psychedelia.
The insanity.
The insanity, and Paper House will live forever in my heart, which is more than I could say for most people that I meet.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Holy shit. Worst, least favorite, same as Alex, Delay, 1968, or the original title, Prepare to Meet Thy Noom. It looks like it says Poon, and I keep almost saying that.
That's what it's called now.
It's good, but it has the most roughness, and it's the least consistent in it. They're still ironing things out clearly. And best personal favorite, Ege Bamyasi. All the things you said about Paper House, I will say about Sing Swan Song. Mm-hmm. And it's if you have to hear Can, if you haven't heard Can, listen to fucking Can, dude. They're just the best. God damn it. But thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out. If you want to hate us and talk some shit, leave some comments. They're all there for you. You can also not do that and subscribe and be cool. You can find me on all social media at Panda Monkey and Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex.
Hell yes, please be sure to follow our history guy Tom Osman at Tom Osman Sounds everywhere, as well as TomOsmanSounds.com for all his music. He just put out a new album called Industrial State of Mind, and you can find links to all that in the description, as well as his Substack, TomOsman.substack.com, where he interviews artists, writes about music, and all the good stuff. It's very cool, very interesting. And well, I think we have to do the important thing and plug our Patreon, because that is why we're doing this episode. We would have done them ourselves, but it's a lot easier when
we know what you guys like.
And they specifically say cover Can, and we say, yes, we will.
Yes.
So yeah, patreon.com/everyalbumever. Bonus episodes. You get to see our schedule in advance. Vote on polls like this one and to decide who we're covering next. You can also join our Discord and be a part of our little community. Suggest episodes suggest albums for our EAE singles episodes. And if you're tier 2, bigger than Jesus, that means you can suggest a full ass discography for us to cover on our bigger, longer numbered episodes. So do that. Thank you. Also check out my debut EP, Panda Monkey. Link in the description. It's cool, rad. Okay, we gonna wrap it. What we gonna wrap it with?
You don't have to go with it, and it's weird. Well, it's not weird, but I dislike it as a closer. I'm gonna suggest She Brings the
She brings her. I'm not opposed to that.
I'm open to suggestions. So
here's the thing. I like that you chose. I wasn't expecting you to choose that one. I like that you chose that one.
yeah.
Fuck it.
All right.
We're doing
Okay.
because the one I want is not as good of a closer. So I would say that.
Okay.
We're doing that. So thank you so much for listening and watching. See ya.